Hi everybody, Lorina Quigley here today, your psychic medium, energy healer, and mystical ex-Mormon. Yeah, it's a lot of tags there. Anyway, today I wanted to just tell a little story. Some of it's I'm gonna talk a little bit about my little sister Jana. And she came into an energy healing session that I was doing earlier this week, and I just wanted to share about it because it was a really beautiful experience. But I want to set up a little bit about her before I get to that. And my little sister Jana, she died when she was 18 years old. She was the youngest of the family. And at this point, I had already had two siblings who had died, both from cystic fibrosis. One died when he was 5, and I was 3 years old in that lineup, so I don't really remember him, but there is a lot of, I think, old emotions that are still in there at that time period. Just, I think, confusion about somebody disappearing, from your life and not understanding that. I'm sure that's in there somewhere inside of me. Anyway, I have explored it. Anyway, so Marlon had died when he was 20, he was 22 years old, I believe. And I had just turned 21. And then Jana died 2 years later. Now, they were both really hard on me. Marlon dying, I was next to him in age, and we were really close. And we went through quite a bit together. I do have a video talking about him because I had an amazing kind of shared death experience with him right before he died, the night before he died. It was just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful experience, and of course, very, very painful too at the same time. Sometimes those things go hand in hand. Anyway, so when Jana died, I was a mess, and I mean I was a mess. I think I was 5 years older than her, if I remember correctly, and she had just barely graduated from high school, and that's really all she wanted to get through high school and graduate. In fact, she was buried in her graduation dress. Yeah. Anyway, I swear this is not this story is not depressing. I promise. But there's a lot of sadness there because it's around loss and people showing up for you when they're on the other side. Now, after she died, like I said, I was a mess. And I had a hard time reconciling it because I thought that she should fight for her life because my brother did. I mean, he fought for every breath that he took, and he said he was going to. And Jana just said, no, it's my time to go, and I'm gonna go. And I want everybody to be here with me, and I want to see everyone. Before I go. Okay, that wasn't, wasn't supposed to cry. Telling this story. Anyway, that was hard for me because my brother fought so hard, and she just said no. And just a different person, different lesson. She was like, no, it's okay. I just want to see everybody. And it was like she was ready. I think she was an evolved soul. I really do. Anyway, so a couple months, and I was really a mess. And I don't say that lightly. I was a mess. And about 2 or 3 months after she died in July, 2 or 3 months after she died, she came to me in a dream and she told me to go to hair school. I swear this is not a long story, short story. Anyway, she came to me, said, you need to go to hair school. We were sitting in a dark room. I mean, it was all black. 2 chairs, we were sitting there. She said, you need to go to hair school. This is what you need to do. It is not the only thing that you're going to do in your life, but it is going to lead you to other things. It's going to be like a ladder, and you're going to climb the ladder. And she told me everything that I was going to do after, but as soon as I woke up, about 10 minutes after I woke up, I couldn't remember the other things. I just remembered I have to go to hair school. So I got into hair school like a month later. I mean, I took it that seriously. And it did literally change my life. Like, yeah, it changed my life because I was really lost at that point in my life. And it felt like after that I was actually climbing out of holes. And I had a direction and I knew what I was supposed to do, because I certainly didn't before that at all. Not even a little. No clue. I was really clueless. Anyway, and lost and still in pain from other things. And I had a really wonderful experience going to hair school. I met a lot of people. In fact, that hair school that I went to, some of the people who ran that school knew people in New York, and that's how I ended up moving to New York City, was the connection from a hair school in Utah to New York City. I mean, these guys were pretty ambitious and really great teachers and really connected to a lot of people. So kind of taught me what success looks like, because I certainly didn't know that before. Anyway, back to Jana. So I did move to New York City. Okay, I'm really jumping here. But I went to hair school. I moved to New York City. Jana continually came to me in my dreams and gave me information. And really incredibly pivotal information that helped me in my life in such a big way that, I don't want to make this video just about all these stories, but she told me that my son Kevin, who I'd given up for adoption, well, I was forced to give up for adoption, she basically told me that he was going to come and find me. Now, she didn't say that. She said the big C is coming. She came to me in a dream and said, Lorina, the big C is coming. And this is when I was well in New York. I can't remember what year this was. She said, the big C is coming. I'm like, what is that? And she goes, and I said, is that cancer? She said, no, change. So I knew something big was coming. And there were some other things in that dream. I don't need to give all of you, every detail. But these are the kind of things that, of information that she would give me. She also gave me, I got a dream once about just be patient. All of these gifts you will have, like I wanted all these beautiful, wonderful things, and just be patient because you're going to get them, but it's a process, just one step at a time. You can't have everything at once. These kind of things, but some were incredibly pivotal and important. So jumping ahead again to when I lived here in Phoenix, where I am now, she came to me again in a dream. And she said to me, Lorina, I'm not going to come see you as much as I have been. And now at this point, I considered her one of my guides, one of my main guides, because she showed up when I needed help. And it was usually always in a dream. Anyway, she said, I won't be able to come see you as much as I have, because I'm going to be doing other things. Now, she didn't say what those other things were. She just said maybe she reincarnated into a lifetime here. I don't know. But she's busy. She can't come see me like I'd gotten used to. And coming out of that dream, I was sad. I got really dependent on, my sister's going to show up and she's going to help me out. And which I loved because I missed her and I love her. And I wish, and maybe she does. Maybe she visits me every night in my dreams and I just don't remember. I don't think so. But anyway, and doing, mediumship and psychic work, she would come in on occasion, but not very often. When I do both psychic work, mediumship, and healing, what happens is usually my brother comes in and helps, and sometimes gives messages, my brother Marlon, or sometimes even my mother comes in and gives messages, which is really interesting because she was not into this kind of stuff at all. And she started showing up about, 2 or 3 months after she died, and she would give messages in message circles, and she would give them to me in sign language, which is interesting too, because my mom was deaf. She spoke in sign language, but they never taught it to us. So now she's on the other side. She's giving me messages in sign language to me, and I'm understanding them. It's really funny because I'm not good at sign language. Never was, because we weren't taught it. Anyway, we did take sign language lessons when we were teenagers, but they didn't stick. So anyway, on with my story. So usually it's Marlon who shows up and helps with messages, and my mom. And rare occasions Jana will show up, but she's more like a background person. Doesn't say much. Anyway, so getting to the end of the story here, I was doing an energy healing on somebody this week, and this is a remote session. We're doing it so I can see her, she can see me, but I've got the lights dimmed and she's got the lights dimmed because it's just less distracting. If you don't, sometimes seeing somebody really well, it can be distracting, and in a really light environment. I can work in a light environment if I have to, absolutely, and I have. But I like less distraction, so there is much more focus. So I'm doing energy healing on this woman's mother. They're in Hong Kong. So this is, and she's Chinese, and her mom's Chinese, and she doesn't speak any English, and so we need an interpreter. So there was all these different things going on, but it was very powerful, and it was almost a 2-hour-long session. And at towards the last 15 minutes or so, Jana shows up. Now, she just doesn't show up very often. She shows up. Now, Jana died from a lung disease. This woman, she had many issues, this older woman. One of them was she has a lot of stuff in her lungs. They're very congested. And Jana shows up, and I can see her there helping pull out this stuff out of this woman's lungs. And so I'm telling her what I'm seeing as this is happening, and she could feel it too. The mom, she was being really quiet. It was her daughter who was telling me. We could feel this stuff pouring out of her, all of this sadness, and I could feel it. And we had pulled a lot of stuff out already, but when Jana came in and just started pulling all this stuff out of this woman's lungs, and it was sadness and grief, and it was just pouring out of her body. When I say body, I mean her energy body, but that affects the physical body. Anyway, it was just such a beautiful experience that Jana showed up to help with this, because she doesn't show up very often, and she had similar issues with the lungs. Different disease, different malady, but to help with this woman who has this issue. It was just beautiful, and you could really feel it. It was absolutely beautiful that she was assisting with this, and you could feel this love, and you could feel the sadness and the grief just pouring out of her lungs. And then after, I'm not sure how long that lasted, because you're in an altered state. I'm definitely in an altered state. You're not thinking about time. This energy came through that was just filling all those empty places that had been emptied out of all of this grief and sorrow and sadness, filled with this beautiful, light, loving, high frequency energy. Anyway, it was beautiful. And it was just so wonderful for me to connect with Jana again and feel her there with me, helping. Anyway, I just wanted to share that experience. When it comes to doing energy healing, readings, mediumship, a lot of times doing energy healing, it can switch to suddenly someone's there to give messages who's on the other side. You never know what's going to happen, and you never know what it's going to look like. Sometimes channeled messages come through. It's a really interesting thing, just being connected to the mystical world. It's very exciting. It's never boring. It's an adventure, just going into these realms and seeing who shows up, seeing these beautiful beings or loved ones, helpers, guides, masters who show up to help you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this story. And by the way, the other things that you're going to do all has to do with energy healing, doing psychic work, doing mediumship, and that whole realm of stuff, which I just keep, expanding that world. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, please, please do so in the comments. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.